When people started writing down music, they did not have a way to notate rhythm. The first rhythmic notation had symbols for commonly used rhythms, similar to how Asian languages have symbols for common things. We now use a system of notation that allows us to create virtually any rhythm out of the same set of symbols, just as we can create virtually any sentence out of only 26 alphabetical letters. Our rhythmic symbols signify a relative duration. An open oval fills an entire measure of common time, so it is called a whole note. An open oval with a stem fills a half measure of common time, or is half the duration of a whole note. It is called a half note. A solid oval with a stem fills 1/2 of the value of a half note, a quarter of a measure of common time, and is called a quarter note. 2 quarter notes represent the same duration of time as 1 half note. 4 quarter notes equals the same duration of time as a whole note. If we divide a quarter note in half, we have a note that lasts 1/8 of a measure of common time. There are 2/8 notes in a quarter note, 4/8 notes in a half note, and 8/8 notes in a whole note. Eighth notes have a solid note head, a stem, and a flag. If we divide eighth notes in half, we get a 16th note. 16th notes have 2 flags. Each 16th note represents 1/16 of a measure of common time. There are 2 16th notes in an eighth note, 4 16th notes in a quarter note, and 8 16th notes in a half note. We usually use beams instead of flags to group notes together into beats or sometimes half measures, as this is easier to read. 16th notes beget 32nd notes, 32nd notes beget 64th notes, 64th notes beget 128th notes, but don't worry about these yet. Our duration values are the inversion of the powers of 2, 1, 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, and so on. You may have noticed my use of the term common time. It is a somewhat outdated term, but it is how we ended up with the note value names that we have. Now, if a whole note lasts for a whole measure and a half note lasts for 1/2 of a measure, how do we write a note that lasts 3/4 of a measure? We have 2 ways. We can combine note values together by tying them together. So we can tie a half note to a quarter note. The other method we have is to add a dot to the half note. When we add a dot to any note, we add half of the note's value to the original note value. Adding a dot to a half note adds 1/4 note to its value. In the same way, we can add a dot to a quarter note to increase its duration from 2/8 notes to 3/8 notes. Any note value can be dotted. Each note value has a partner rest symbol. Rests are durations that you play with silence. You do not rest during rests. You play durations of silence. Rest symbols appear as whole rest, half rest, quarter rest, eighth rest, 16th rest, and so on. Notice the particular shape and placement of each rest. Rests can be dotted in the same way that notes can be dotted. Rests are never tied.